Hey everybody, it is Sunday, January 31st, 2021, the last day of the month of January 2021, and what a month it was. Now, I want to stress in this episode for everyone to be extra cautious right now, in the markets especially. Now, we've said for years that they're going to try to keep this market propped up until at least November. And that they did. We're talking about the market makers, the monopoly men that basically run the show, as most of you know by now. And I think what we have witnessed in the past few days is going to be maybe a wake-up call to a lot of people that the financial sector has been essentially tilted against the little guy, the retail investor. And I'm talking about the entire banking structure, not just the brokers. If you think this ends with Robinhood and a couple brokers that stopped retail investors from trading stocks, if you think that is the gist of what's happening here, then you're going to have a big awakening too, because this is the whole financial sector. It's rigged against the little guy. All right, you have hedge funds. They get to trade on margin. They get to see all of the positions of the retail investor. You know this. I mean, we've talked about this for years. Robinhood. They were the broker that kind of started the free stock trade situation. And then other brokers followed. So now you see it across the sector. It's pretty common. How do you think these brokers make money if they're not charging commission on their stocks? They don't charge you interest to have a brokerage account. Well, they partner with the hedge funds. The hedge funds, they get your information. They know all the positions of the retail investors. And hedge funds, they work with the news outlets to move stock prices, to cause fear and panic in certain stocks, to cause positivity and optimism in other stocks, right? All right, so it's one big game, and it's tilted against you and I, the little guy. And that's why I dipped my toe basically into day trading, and just to see what it was all about. Maybe did that for a couple months, and I saw the actions that were against me as a trader. I would take a position, then all of a sudden the volume would come in very heavily against what I just placed a position in. Right, I was doing some pretty decent sized bets, I think, for a retail investor. And so once I saw just with my own eyes the action that took place, I knew exactly what was happening behind the scenes. All right, and now you see this news coming out with the retail investors being locked out of certain stocks, while the hedge funds, the big guys, they were allowed to continue to trade, to continue to invest in the background, scramble into their positions to try to mitigate their losses. All right, and let me tell you, this was a big story. Everybody's talking about it, but this is just a microcosm of the entire financial sector. Okay, why do you think the rich keep getting richer and the poor and the middle class keep getting put further into poverty? Yes, a lot of it is a lot of idiots out there, a lot of people that choose to not spend wisely, let's say, people that choose not to position themselves to get in a better position. That's a huge part of it. But the reason a lot of people don't choose to do that is because they feel like even if they do that, they're not going to win. Because why? The entire financial system is tilted against the little guy, the retail investor, the middle class. All right, it doesn't take a genius to see what is happening. All right, so what if this recent news that came out, well, it's not so recent now, it's been about a week. People have been talking about the GameStop stock, the Robinhood, the brokers that were restricting trades. So a lot of people are now waking up, and I'm surprised a lot of YouTubers that I watch, they seem to be shocked or surprised by this news that's coming out. To me, that's interesting that it's coming out, but if you've been following the stock market, you know how this works. You've known about this for a long time if you've been on this channel. But a lot of people are shocked. Wow, they're really strategizing to make money. Hedge funds want to make money, and they're working with the brokers. Wow, my goodness, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. That's how the system works. I guess if you're just now realizing it, it is crazy because The Once the unfairness is revealed, a lot of people are realizing what is happening now. But I think this could be the beginning of a disaster. Now, the disaster has been unfolding, you can argue, for a long time now. We've talked about things on this channel that have been happening, the debt levels, the enormous bubbles in the housing sector, the stock market, how the debt is just running rampant now, parabolic debt, in order to keep this system operational. So things have been falling apart for a long time. The repo operations, the injection into the banking system, the deregulations, the whole debt scheme has to be propped up. It has to continue to keep this illusion alive. Well, I think now, with people realizing, maybe starting with this recent story with these brokers, people are now realizing that yes, this is really happening. There's a lot of bad things that happen behind the scenes that a lot of people are not privy to, but now some of this is coming to the surface, and I think this is going to cause, some panic in the markets. And what's next? They're going to stop retail investors from getting together on a chat board and going to stop these people now from talking about stocks and getting together to push a stock price up when the hedge funds and the big retail, the corporate investors have been doing that behind the scenes for decades, All right, so we'll see what happens out of this. This could be the start of people beginning to see what's really going on. Maybe it's going to cause larger market panic. Let's take a look at where the markets left off on Friday. We saw the big red days. We talked about that in our previous report. But let's get into some other numbers here. And again, this was the Dow Jones on Friday. We saw the big red day combined with larger than average volume. Here's the average volume for the typical trading day: 395 and some odd million shares exchanged. Friday was 538 million shares. So you know that with the sell-off, it was much larger than typical volume. So I'm thinking that maybe some big investors behind the scenes are seeing what is happening and they are being cautious and selling off their positions. Could this be the start of a bigger decline? All right, we'll have to see. The market makers, anything is possible. But we know when the big money starts to panic, or when they begin to realize that people are watching them, and when these types of stories are in the news with the brokers, what's happening, be very careful in the markets. All right, I would not be going long right now. I would not be buying put options unless you're one of the chat room members there you're all getting together to push the stock market up or push a certain stock up, like we saw with GameStop and a couple other stocks here recently. But even if that's the case, they could lock you out of that trade, and then you'll be stuck. You might be allowed to buy maybe one share. Who knows what's going to happen with that, but be very, very careful. This could be the beginning of a bigger disaster. The disaster has already been unfolding for years, but now maybe things are finally starting to come to a head. All right, there's talk that some traders are going to be trying to attempt to try to push up the price of silver. Now, there's been trending on Twitter that that's going to happen. If you go over to Twitter, there is a trending hashtag silver squeeze. So they could likely push the SLV higher, which is basically a digital form of silver, which I do not trust. I do not feel like these ETFs, these exchange traded funds, they do not have the physical silver that they are trading on the digital screen. I'm guaranteeing you that. All right, so if you're going to trade in it, I hope you do make money. I've been holding the SLV for years, so if it goes up, I'm not going to be trying to run in there and jump in there. I'm going to be selling. When something takes a parabolic move upward, you should sell, because you should have already been positioned prior to the big run-up. All right, there are people that are successful. They jump into a stock as it's moving up and then they sell higher. That's not what I like to do. I like to hold, wait for the price to go up. The same thing with physical silver. If there's a physical silver squeeze, let's say silver jumps up to 50, $100 an ounce. If it hits $100, I'll probably take maybe 50 to 100 ounces and sell it off. I'll go to the bullion dealer here in Southern California and maybe get rid of 100 ounces and take a fraction off of the table. If prices run up, you've got to take profits sometime. I see all these people that say, don't sell, don't sell, don't sell. If you hold on forever, you're never going to realize your gains. It's just digits on a screen. And yes, you're trading it for fiat dollars. But as I like to say, go try to pay your utilities, try to pay your taxes with bullion or crypto. Go ahead and try that. Right? Maybe in the future we'll see that, but as for now, you still got to take profits and get those fiat dollars to take these gains as you see them unfold. So silver squeeze, keep an eye on it. The markets, keep an eye on the markets. Be careful out there. I'm going to wrap it up for now. We'll try to be back here early Monday, maybe even later today. We'll see how it goes. Thank you all for watching. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared, especially now. Bye for now. Peace.